Our next toast is to our wonderful land, South Africa. And I'm going to ask a boy from the class of 2001 who is a very enthusiastic old boy. He loves to involve himself in the affairs of the school and particularly the Old Boys Association. And in fact, he's recently been nominated to the directorate of the Old Boys Association. And I'd ask Max Madalane to come and propose a toast to South Africa.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Schroeder, Mr. Wheeler, our honorary guest, our former Minister, Mr. Pravin Gordhan, fellow Old Boys, fellow members of the Old Boys Association, welcome. This year marks, as 2014 marks the year our great country celebrates 20 years of freedom and democracy. This momentous occasion presents us with an opportunity for us to reflect on how our freedom and democracy were achieved. The progress we have made over the last 20 years and how South Africans will work together to implement Vision 2030. Just taking you through some of the highlights as a country, marking the start of the democracy in 1994. The interim constitution in 1993 was ratified and implemented. It ushered the election of a non-racial democratic government and provided the foundation for a new constitution, which was drafted by the Constitutional Assembly and passed in 1996. The same year, South Africa held its non-racial democratic elections. The same year, the South African national flag, with a design and colours which are a synopsis of the principal elements of the country's flag history, was used for the first time during the elections. In 1995, the Rugby World Cup was staged for the first time, and that all matches were to be played in one country. South Africa participated in a tournament for the first time following the end of international sports boycott and apartheid. South Africa won this tournament, defeating New Zealand 15-12 in the final in Ellis Park. 1996, South Africa hosts the African Cup of Nations tournament, replacing the original hosts, Kenya. It was a national team, Bafana Bafana, the second appearance in the tournament, after being readmitted into the international fold just 4 years prior to the tournament. They were generally thought of as the underdogs. They won by beating Tunisia 2-0. In 1997, the Constitution of the Republic came into effect. The week of 17 to 21 March is named National Constitutional Week. More than 7 million copies of the Constitution were distributed in 11 official languages. a shortened combined version of Nkosi Sikelel' i-Afrika, and the Call of South Africa became the national anthem of South Africa in terms of the Constitution of South Africa. In 2002, Mark Shuttleworth became the first South African in space. He was a member of the crew Soyuz mission TM-34 of the International Space Station. He spent 8 days aboard his space station, where he conducted specific scientific experiments for South Africa. He returned to Earth shortly thereafter. In 2003, the International Cricket Council Cricket World Cup was co-hosted by South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Kenya. The edition of the World Cup was the first to be played on the African soil. In the final, Australia made 359 runs for loss of 2 wickets, the largest ever total in a final, defeating India by 125 runs. In 2004, the FIFA president, Sepp Blatter, announces that South Africa would host the 2010 FIFA World Cup. In 2005, the South African Large Telescope in Sutherland, Northern Cape Province, the largest landscape in the Southern Hemisphere, is inaugurated. In 2007, South Africa officially assumes its seat as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council following elections held on 16 October 2006. In the United Nations General Assembly, South Africa is elected for the first time as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. We're almost there. In 2010, FIFA World Cup South Africa, in a packed Soccer City Stadium in Johannesburg, hosts South Africa taking on Mexico. Host nation South Africa got their continent's first World Cup off a thrilling start by scoring a tournament's opening goal in a spirited 1-1 draw with Mexico. Approximately 85,000 spectators attended the match, while millions watched on the screens around the country. In 2012, a member of the Square Kilometre Array organization announced that the SKA telescope would be split between South Africa and Australia, with a majority share of the telescope destined to be built in South Africa. All of the phase 2 destined will be built in Africa. 2013, South Africa hosts the 2013 Cup of Nations, also known as the Orange Cup of Nations, for the second time, after the original host, Libya, was stripped of its hosting rights due to Libyan's civil war. It was the 29th Africa Cup of Nations, the Football Championship of Africa, organized by the Confederation of African Football. And in 2014, African Cup of Nations was the third African Nations Championship football tournament to be hosted in South Africa. While celebrating our achievements, we must also identify and find solutions to address the challenges that we face while we look forward to the next 20 years. The National Development Plan is our roadmap. The plan outlines the type of society we are striving for in 2013, where everyone is able to go to school and further their studies, where work is available and everyone is making a contribution, because each person has been provided with what they need in order to reach their full potential. To ensure we achieve this success in the next 20 years, we need to continue our work as old boys by investing in this great school of ours, to continue producing the future leaders of this country. It is our duty and responsibility as old boys that an institution such as Pretoria Boys High School continues to be well funded in order to carry out its work, to develop the best systems, the best infrastructure, to attract the best educators in fulfillment of the 2030 plan, and making a great contribution to our nation. Gentlemen, on that note, may I ask you to rise and drink a toast to our great school and our great country. An investment in Boys High is an investment in our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Max Madalane, from the class of 2001 here at Boys High.